Audio Jungle. Audio
Hello and welcome to Man Cave Movies. I'm your host, DeGarian Andrews. This is my man cave and these are my movies. Today I want to start off by saying one of the purposes of Man Cave Movies is to introduce a movie to the viewers that they may not have seen before. So I want to not only discuss classic films with you or films of the past with you, but I also want to introduce movies to you. It brings me no greater joy than to receive a DM or a text message saying, after I watched your episode, I went back and I watched this film, or after viewing your episode, my opinion has now changed. I really got that a lot when I discussed Love and Basketball. I got it so much when I discussed A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. So I just want to put that out there. You may not have heard of every film that I discuss, but that's a good thing because hopefully my podcast will make you want to go back and view that film. And today I will be discussing a film that many people may not have seen because it was at the time considered a box office disaster, a box office flop, a box office bomb. I am talking about the 1991 film Nothing But Trouble, directed by Dan Aykroyd, written by Dan and Peter Aykroyd, and starring Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, John Candy, and Demi Moore. Now, the synopsis, as listed by IMDb, reads: a businessman and his friends are captured by a sadistic judge and his equally odd family in a bizarre mansion in the backwoods. Simple, but that is the premise of the film. I love this film. It came out when I was pretty young, 1991, and I didn't follow critics and reviews then. I just watched movies. I knew I liked what I liked. And I still love Nothing But Trouble. It wasn't until I got older, much older, I was an adult when, and the internet became popping, that I realized that this movie was critically panned. Not many people liked this movie. The production was riddled with controversy and script changes, and I think it went over budget at times. It was just it was not well received, and the production I read was not so well. So I want to talk about what critics said about it. I want to talk about some parts of the movie. I want to talk about what I thought about it in this episode. So we're going to dive into Nothing But Trouble. So stay with me on Man Cave Movies. I will be right back. Welcome back to Man Cave Movies. I'm your host, DeGarian Andrews. This is my Man Cave, and these are my movies. On this episode, we are discussing the 1991 film Nothing But Trouble and why it wasn't well received. So I'm going to pose this question. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments. Is Nothing But Trouble a cult classic, or is it a disaster piece? My opinion, it is a cult classic. I can watch this film if I want to laugh, if I'm feeling down and I just want to be cheered up. If I want to watch, I think acting excellence, slapstick, physical comedy, I can watch it. If I want to see a movie where the makeup department understood the assignment, I can watch nothing but trouble. The critics at the time thought that it was all over the place. I think they used the term tonality whiplash, meaning they didn't know if it was a comedy, they didn't know if it was horror, fantasy, satire. They said that it never decided what it wanted to be. And critics consider that bad. I don't think that that is a bad thing. And don't get me wrong, I am in no way, shape, form, or fashion comparing this to the most nominated film in Academy Award history, Sinners. Shout out to Sinners. But that film is not able to just check off one box because Sinners has a lot in it. So I just think that a film doesn't have to be just one thing. It can be a plethora of things. I consider it a comedy. I don't know many people that would consider it horror, maybe fantasy. I don't think it was satirical either. And now that's my take on it. I thought it was a comedy. I laugh at it. If you've seen this film and you have opinions on it, let me know what you think about it. Some people say this movie, because of its eccentricity, they think that it could only have been made in the 90s. There's no way this movie could have been made after the year 2000. Um, I probably agree with that. I don't think that is an odd statement, but I also think not only did we peak as a country, not only did we peak as a human race in the 90s, I'll go out on the limb and say, in my opinion, the 90s they were the best decade of film and television. Don't crucify me, as I like to say in the comments. That's just my opinion. Let me just tell you a bit more about the film. So, like I said, four friends are going on a road trip. They Chevy Chase's character has gotten a new car, and now there are some plot holes. Don't get me wrong, there are some plot holes. Like Demi Moore's character Diane meets Chris, who's Chevy Chase's character, and she meets this man and just asks him to take her on a road trip. And he agrees because he's attracted to her. He gets this new car. They take their friends, Ronaldo and Fausto, with them. Fausto convinces him to test out the speed of his car. He does that. The police is signaling for them to pull over. His friend convinces him, hey, you just got this new car. Let's see how fast it goes. Don't stop. They don't stop. Um, they go through this town, which is rigged, and they get pulled over. They get took to the justice of the peace, and all of the horrible things that ensue took place in this mansion. Simple as it may seem, but apparently critics thought that it was convoluted with a lot of things. Some people said that Dan Aykroyd, as a director, a writer, and performer, this was more so a vanity project for him. We all know what Dan Aykroyd could do. We saw Saturday Night Live, we saw Ghostbusters, we saw The Great Outdoors. So we knew that his comedic timing was excellent. So I don't think that this would have been a vanity project for him. I think it would have been a labor of love. Could he have been considered overly ambitious? Probably. It was the 90s. Some people say that he was a comedian and he had too much control over the film, too much power over the film, and that's what led to its demise as a film. I'm gonna say again, I think the film is excellent. I think it's 90s film fodder. It was one of those films that you had to catch on HBO before there was TV Guide. before there were guides on the channel. You turn to HBO when the film goes off, and you prayed that whatever film was coming on next was something that you really wanted to watch, especially if HBO was the only movie channel that you had. Everyone, I'm not speaking for myself, but everyone wasn't blessed to have HBO, the movie channel, Showtime, Cinemax, Flix, Stars when it came out. So you had to catch this film, and oh, when you caught it, what a delight. We'll discuss more about this film when we return. Stay with me. Welcome back to Man Cave Movies. I'm your host, DeGarian Andrews. Today we are discussing the 1991 film Nothing But Trouble and whether it is a cult classic or a film disaster piece. I think the former. I think it's a cult classic. I think it's really funny. The critics did not agree with it. They didn't. They thought it was, they thought it was horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. I couldn't disagree more. There's so many gems in this movie, and I think one of the gems is John Candy's performance as Judge Alvin Valkenheiser. I'm sorry. This this character, you almost forget that you're watching John Candy. He is so gross and misanthropic, and he's a chauvinist. He is every adjective you can think of that is negative, but it works. And he is hilarious. But some people think that there are scenes that make you genuinely uncomfortable. I wasn't uncomfortable in this film. As a child, I questioned why you would try to force someone to marry your daughter who was totally not interested in your daughter. Um, I don't know. I think it is a great film, and maybe they say it was satirical because it poked fun at the legal system, but you know, overall, I think it was a good film. So a long story short, two of the friends got away, with the help of John Candy because he discovered his scruples halfway in the film and had a change of heart. So he allowed them to escape, and he tried to help Demi Moore and Chevy Chase escape, but they had a harder time. Now, as a child, I did wonder why, if two of my friends escape and you get away, and I didn't get away with you, and I haven't contacted you or called you, why haven't you sent the police to this location? You just get away and forget about me? And let's not forget, even though I should have had a mind of my own, I only start speeding and trying to shake the cops because of you. You told me to push the pedal to the metal and get up out of there. So you get away, and then you just forget about us. You just only care about yourself. And then at the end of the film, so Chevy Chase and Demi Moore, they eventually get away. They go to the police. They take the police there. It's almost like they took the National Guard there. Then they realize that it was this whole corrupt scheme. I'm not going to get political. I'm going to say that for talk with other people. That's not this show. But they found out that everyone was corrupt and everyone was in on it. And then there's this big minefield fire and people start dying. I know it sounds like a lot, but you have to watch this film. And I said all that to say, but at the very end, the two friends, which are millionaires, by the way, they're living the life in this tropical location while Demi and Chevy are dealing with the trauma of what they've gone through. Great film, very entertaining. I don't smoke. I've never smoked, but I know people say watching things when you are high makes them even funnier. To those of you that, like to blaze, like to put one in the air, watch it when you're high. Tell me what you think. Have a few drinks. Tell me what you think. Or watch it sober and tell me what you think. Either way you watch it, go to the comments. Let's talk about it. This has been Man Cave Movies. I hope you enjoy. Say hi to my son, making his Man Cave Movies debut. Say hi, Amr.
Hi.
Say, this is Man Cave Movies. Say, this is Man Cave Movies.
This is Man Cave Movies.
Signing off.
Signing off.
Peace.
Peace.
Because you're rich. How's it cute under?